my name is Kyle Benger. With my wife Shelley, we have traveled to many places in the world aboard our sailing home we call Blowin' Bubbles. We have been sailing for just over 1 year. We have traveled some 3,000 nautical miles, and so far we have visited 6 countries. Our purpose along the way has been simple. We try to distribute school supplies to as many children as we can find along our way. So far on our journey, Shelley and I have distributed the school supplies to more than 1,000 children. In Honduras, we also helped a school with over 300 students and horribly inadequate sanitation acquire enough toilets and a new water supply. Before we left Canada, with the help of some incredibly dedicated people, we started a mission called the Right to Write. With donated school supplies and monetary gifts, we have been able to accomplish quite a bit. Yet, as happy as we are of our accomplishments so far, we know that whatever we've done so far is only the beginning. We currently find ourselves in the beautiful rainforest area of northern Panama. We are in the province of Bocas del Toro, and we are surrounded with a beautiful country filled with wonderful people. July 22nd was a special day. We were invited by some people who are concerned about the welfare of rural, mostly indigenous children who seem to be caught in a school system that is unable, or maybe even unwilling, to support them in even a minimal way. Our day began when our friend Joanne Harris, Shelley, and I were picked up by an arranged water taxi who brought us and some other interested folks on a 3-school tour that most visitors would never see. Our first stop was at Escuela de Baja Roja. This school is located in an underserviced indigenous community. Currently, this school has approximately 20 preschool, that is 3 to 6-year-old children, 35 children in grades 1 through 6, and 15 young people in grades 7 through 9. This school is located in an underserviced indigenous community. Currently, this school has approximately 20 preschool, that is 3 to 6-year-old children, 35 children in grades 1 through 6, and 15 young people in grades 7 through 9. Sadly, we learned today that they tend to lose many children after the 6th grade due to families who need them to work, or unfortunately, teen pregnancy. The preschool program, which is not government-funded, suffers here because to afford a teacher, she or he must be shared with another school. So preschool children are only supported in this community on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. Upon our arrival, we met Emily Talentino. She is the Director of Development for this nonprofit organization they call Give and Serve. This school and the second one we visited today are sponsored by this organization who, with almost no support from the Panamanian government, care as well as they can for all these children. Let's take a moment and listen now as Emily talks about herself and the work she does.
Government agency is trying to get funding for teachers' houses, so the teachers are living, because a lot
they
of
have
teachers
somewhere to stay.
Live in Bocas right now, and when it's rainy, plus the expensive transportation,
They can't get here.
They can't get here, and if they're here, then school will be more frequent. They're more invested in the community.
So how much would they charge them to get from Bocas to here every day?
At least 10 round trip.
Yeah,
but on
5 each way.
Yeah, at least.
So 10 every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets very
Sometimes,
costly.
like a couple of days a week, we head into town and we always bring the teacher, or sometimes they work out something else, but that's a huge chunk of salary.
That's a huge
Yeah.
price. And now you were saying that you're looking for like $500 a month or whatever to keep the teacher for so long?
For a teacher's salary for a year.
Teacher salary for a
Yeah,
year.
it's about $500 a month.
And after the year, the government will help? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to transition over so it's sustainable, and a lot of it's based on the number of students.
Yeah, so if the government wants to see it up and running and working before they're going to give you a dime. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good collaboration because, they've come through and said, yeah, you can build, or, you know, you can do this, and it's a good partnership.
It sounds like the Panamanian government is reluctant to get involved until a program has proven itself to be successful. This is sad in some ways when you realize that the federal government receives more than $1.2 billion per year from the nearly $2.4 billion generated with fees charged to ships and boats that visit the Panama Canal. If a child from this community is to go on to high school after grade 9, they must go via a 20-minute water taxi ride to Bocas Town for school. Transportation by water taxi from the outer islands is usually about $20 to $30 per month per child. Sadly, without help, most families can't afford this. At the moment, transportation for the children up to grade 9 is supplied at a cost of $25,000 per year in totally donated funds that go to the driver, fuel, and for the maintenance of the boat. At this time, Give and Surf are building 2 more classrooms, and they hope to double the size of this school this year. This is a volunteer build through the parents and the organization and the volunteers who come to visit. Once these new classrooms are ready, they will need teachers. The cost for a teacher is $500 per month. This does not include transportation, that is, the water taxi to get them there. The government will not pay for any teachers or any transportation until they're deemed viable, and the government has decided it takes about a year to decide that. Next, we traveled to our second school, Escuela Bahia Honda. This school is also sponsored by Give and Surf. In this school, there are 18 preschool children who must share their teacher with Bahia Roja. They get Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Additionally, there are 42 children in grades 1 through 6 and 12 children in grades 7 through 9. At this time, there is no electricity available to this school. Their solar panels are broken and need to be replaced, and so they must wait, in hopes that one day they'll be able to have some lights and be able to acquire some computers. Here are a few more examples of the realities people face here. Last year, they had no school for almost 2 months, as the teacher they did have had a baby and they could find a replacement. The only reason that this school even has a bathroom and a small library is that the good folks from Give and Surf built them. All students in Panama must wear a school uniform. But parents who buy these uniforms can only be reimbursed from the government if the student can prove they have a C average or above on their report cards. Ironically, while we were here, we also learned that they cannot use one of the classrooms in this school at the moment because they have no chairs or desks for the students to use. After about an hour, we left Bahia Honda and traveled by boat to our third school in Solarte. As we were pulling away, we passed the exclusive Red Frog Marina. This marina caters to cruising boats and mega yachts. You can just imagine the contrast of these two worlds. And it was not lost on our group, and we learned also that in order for the owners of the marina to acquire the land they did, promises were made to these indigenous people, and sadly look like they were never fulfilled. We arrived excited and overwhelmed to see our third and final school this day. Coming toward the school, we couldn't help notice the high fence and the barbed wire. When we asked, we were told that this was installed to keep the very few possessions that they have from being stolen. This school is not sponsored by Give and Surf. They are sponsored by another organization called One World Children's Fund, or OWCF. At this time, they are fortunate to have 2 teachers who live on the site. We met Principal Candy, who teaches English, computers, and she even teaches literacy for parents in the community who themselves cannot read or write. In this school, through lack of access, there are only 3 preschool children. There are 45 children attending grades 1 through 6, and in this school, any child above grade 6 must be water taxied to Kutztown each day. Unlike the other two schools, there is no one to sponsor the children's transportation to and from this school, so if they cannot walk, they don't often come. On this day, government doctors were running a medical clinic at the school, and they were giving out vaccinations and medicine. The children were getting an environmental lesson from a person connected to the Smithsonian Institute. Ironically, the teachers here today had to scramble to find enough crayons and colored pencils so the children could color the picture given to them by the Smithsonian people. This school does have a few solar panels set up, so it's able to accommodate lights and computers. Unfortunately, the computers they do have either don't or run very old software that can't run any of the materials that are available to them. They need 10 laptop computers, 10 computers that have a CD drive for today's lessons. They are also looking to the English-speaking community here to volunteer to teach English before and after regular school hours. It's interesting, English is required in Panama as a part of the curriculum, but sadly, there is a terrible shortage of people who are willing or able to teach. Each day, a parent volunteer signs up to do lunch duty. A full lunch costs about $60 a day to feed those children. If they don't have enough money, they make porridge, or they make rice, or whatever they can get donated from parents or others. The government has not given this school any money for food, in fact, for more than a year. If the school drops below 40 students, they're also planning to take away one of their teachers. Let's take a minute and listen to what Candy tells us.
So you feed them once a day?
And once a day, yeah, by day. By day they have. Today they have, for example, we have.
When we finished our tour of the school, we were invited to follow the same trail that the children take each day to come to school. We were very fortunate as it had not rained in 24 hours and we were at low tide. I mentioned earlier that the dropout rate is very high for the school, and this is partly because the children must travel on a dangerous, dirty pathway each day they attend school. Our friend and local resident, Kay Heath, is working diligently at this time to try and raise the required funds to complete a partially finished path for the children and the rest of the community to use. Listen.
The kids go through it. I mean, they either wear their shoes and get them dirty, or they take their shoes off. And there's hookworm and leishmaniasis from sand fleas. There's lots of issues that these kids could potentially be ill because of their walkway. So it's a safety and health issue, as well as just keeping their clothes and feet clean
and getting them to school.
When it rains, around the corner here, there's a real flat area you'll see, and what happens is it just fills up with water and doesn't drain well out into the ocean. Where the small project starts, it would cost approximately $750 in materials, and it goes on Terry's land up to the existing walkway, which is cement. This part right in here is very muddy, but what we're hoping to do is to build a raised bridge across this, because it is significant drainage. It floods. We get water coming under these trees right through here when it's raining. So it floods this whole area and comes under into the creek as well. Once you get through this rooty section with all these trees, the next property over has a raised path that they built for Solarte Inn that is really in very good shape. And that path goes to Solarte Inn, and then they have some gravel paths that are, the kids could take.
It came time for us to return to our world, but not before Shelley and I committed to helping all 3 schools acquire the school supplies they needed for all the children for at least 1 year. We hope that this short video encourages you to look beyond your comfortable place and help us help these communities we visit. Remember, we might never change the world, but we can help each other.